Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to another live session with DogSpot. And sorry for the delay, a couple of minutes late today. We have today with us Dr. Satbir Josan of Metro Pet Hospital in Gurugram. And we're going to be talking specifically about neutering and spaying. And if you have any questions about that, it's a good time to ask because there's always a lot of confusion about should you neuter or spay a pet or you should not, and what are the benefits like age. So we talked to Dr. Josan who's here with us today all about that. Welcome, Dr. Josan. How are you?
Yes, fine. How are you, Mussarat? Doing fine?
Great. Thank you. And is there any change in your hospital timing since the last time we spoke?
Yes, so now we are working from 10:30 to 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So that's our clinic timings in the Sector 23 clinic. Supermart clinic 11 to 1:30. That's what the
Okay.
working timings are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Just so that our viewers, if they
Yes.
want to get in touch with you later, I thought it would be good to give them this information as well. So, Dr. Joshan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. It's a question that a lot of pet owners struggle with. If we should neuter our dog or we should not, and there's a lot of contradicting information out there. So, what exactly is neutering and spaying?
Yes. Yes. So what the spaying means, with the where we remove both the uterus and the ovaries. So that is what the spaying means in the female dogs. Uh,
Okay,
Now about, yeah, there's a big question always: should we spay them? Should we don't spay them? What are the pros and cons about spaying them? And what age they should be spayed? So all those, there's a very common questions we have.
right,
Yes, yes. So we can, like, if we talk about the benefits of the spaying, uh, like what age we should do it, that is first question. uh,
yes,
like we can, yes, normally we can spay them around 8 months of age. That's
okay,
what, if we spay them early before first cycle of heat cycle, then the chance, then what the study shows, the statistic shows, the mammary gland tumor that comes later after the middle age will be much lesser. That's what the statistic shows.
okay,
uh, yeah, so that's what indicated. But at some point of time, the another, that's probably it's sort of, we after spaying first, there is a incontinence sometime happen before first cycle, in very few cases. Like for example, 2 to 3% of pets, the incontinence means urinary incontinence,
okay,
whereas like they don't know when, sort of they are just lying and then the spillage of the urine comes. So that could be a contributing factor. So some point of time, if it's okay, fine, we can spay them after first heat, but before a second heat, so then we can have a benefit of both. The
right.
chances of getting the mammary gland tumors are much less, and the chances of the urinary incontinence, if even if a 2 to 3% should be lesser down. So it's fine. We can do it before first cycle, but after the first cycle and before the second heat, that's the precise time. We don't want to breed them. That's how.
Right.
But of course, if we want to breed them, we want to take them a litter or two, then probably accordingly we can decide. But if we have no plan of breeding them, that could be the ideal time to go ahead. Yes.
But what about
Yeah.
male pups then?
Yeah, the we're talking about male, like, yeah. So it's the like castration is what is neutering it. That's what is called when we remove the surgically remove the testicles. The male pup should also around approximately age around 7 months. After 7 to 8 months, we can do that.
Okay,
There is not a problem, but like in shelter dogs, they do it even earlier, 3 to 4 month of age. That's how they go. But I think probably around 8 months onward, we can do neuter them. That's not a problem. They're almost 80-90% grown up, and then pretty they can handle the anesthesia well. So that's how it we can do that. That's the aging. Most of the time we can do that. Again, the question comes, some point of people thinks we want to mate them, the male, we want to breed them, mate them, and then get the puppy later, and that's how. So then we can decide accordingly. We get them mated around 1.5 years of age. They can, and then accordingly we can decide. Yes.
So, what are
And
the benefits
yeah,
of doing this in male dogs?
sorry.
What are the benefits of neutering and spaying?
Yeah. So then benefits, if we talk about the first, we'll take about the benefits of the spaying. When first of the benefit is that they won't have any litter. They won't be sort of like some point of time pregnancies coming out. If we have a two, if we have a male at home and then they mate and then we have a unwanted pregnancies coming and then the litter to take care, that won't happen. Secondly, like then when they come to cycle, they have a bleeding coming out, so the mess around at home, and other dogs are male dogs are there, so that's quite a nuisance in that sense. Like aggressive, if 2 or 3 pets are there, so they're fighting between among themselves. So that won't be there. So that part is over, but they won't come to any heat cycle. There won't be any sort of smell, odor, or that things where other pets can have a problem because of mating and all. Then we talk about there are major problems, like if we talk about pseudo pregnancy in female dogs. Pseudo pregnancy is a condition where it's like a sort of the female exhibit signs like pregnancy, nursing puppies. So they what they will look like, the mammary gland becomes enlarged and they get even the milking, they get the milk as well. That they will like playing like they're nursing the puppies. There is a behavior mode changes, behavioral issues coming. Even the food wise, they sometimes eating, not eating. So there's a lot of changes happen because of the false pregnancy. They're like they're not pregnant actually, but they're showing signs of pregnancy, nursing puppies and all those things. And
Wow.
another things, when it they are showing all these things, then the chances of getting, when the milk discharge is there, it's conditions called, some point of time it's called mastitis, where the inflammation of the mammary gland happens and infection of the mammary glands is there. So that is another issue, and it's all coming because they have not been mated. And then if and either we go with the natural course of meeting them and getting the litter, but most of the time it's not happening. And then they will be having at least now 1 and 2 months of at least these signs coming up and having all these problems.
Wow.
When they are, yeah, so that then we can, once they are spayed, then they won't have pseudo pregnancy. That, and if they keep coming false pregnancy each and every time they come to cycle, so then chances of mammary glands go high. So this is one part, they won't never come to false pregnancy if we spay them on time.
Right.
Yes. So
Male
yeah, so
dogs,
that's the second benefits.
and
Sorry.
in male dogs, what would be the benefit?
Yeah, yes. So what we can do, probably we can discuss the female dog first, and then
Oh,
we'll take on the male. Then that will be better understandable. So then we discuss 2 points now about the unwanted pregnancies,
right,
and then about the false pregnancy we can prevent them.
right.
Third is a very common and dangerous fatal issues. It's called pyometras. Pyometras are there is like accumulation of pus in the uterus, and that too in quite a quantity. Like if we talk about, like it looks like 1 or 2 to 3 liter of pus inside the uterus, and
My
it happens because of some one of the hormone progesterone induced and getting the infection, and then getting whole load of pus inside the uterus. Normally it can happen after middle age, around 4 5 years, and then it can happen in any age, and it's quite common what we see. And the signs are and this it's commonly it's called pyometra. And then it is of two type, one is called closed pyometra and one is called open pyometra. Some point of time, but is like the pus will not come out. It is there inside the body, in the uterus. And then what the pet is showing a sign of is like it's called polyuria polydipsia, taking more water, more urination. They start throwing up, they leave the food, back hindquarters become pretty weak, and then just sort what has happened actually. So then normally these when we scan them, we get the uterus become full of all pus and all those things, a lot of TLC. That means infection goes pretty high. And some point of time, if it's not removed on time, if not treated on time, this can cause some sort of a kidney issues as well. So that's become a dangerous issue. And then it's another is what is called open pyometra, that the pus starts coming out. Then we can see that a lot of pus coming out. So that is called open pyometra. So then what we need to do is if we get the uterus on time, if the spayed on time, so then they won't get any pyometra. Otherwise, it's become an emergency situations to remove that and then take care of on time removing the uterus during that time when the pet is suffering from this sort of a problem.
Right.
So then we talk about the third thing is mammary gland tumors. Mammary gland tumors, if you don't spay on time initially in the east, then there's a lot of time, like it's quite 20-30% chances they get more than the 30% chances they get a mammary gland tumors. And uh, it has some sort of predispositions from a hormone from your ovaries. So then we can reduce the chances getting this the mammary gland tumor. And the 50% of the mammary gland tumors are cancerous, malignant in nature. So that
Okay.
can be fatal. So yeah, so that's another part where we should spay them if we don't actually want to breed them. If not really serious about breeding them, then of course spay them initial stages.
Okay.
Ah, yeah. So that's another part. Yes. There are few other things in female dogs, like uh, if we talk about the benefits of spaying dogs, they don't have a tendency of mating, but some point of time the females, when they're in the cycle, they run away and then get mated outside. And that's another issue is when this is called TVT. Sometimes we get it cases with transvenereal tumors that's coming from a mating sometimes with the stray males. So there won't be any chances of getting this. Yeah, so that's the major when we talk about the female dog spaying. And so that's a lot of benefits. And I can add on to this some point of time. It is said they get on weight when they get spayed. If we see other parts of the negative aspect of it, but what we have seen, if they are managed well with their diet and exercise, so they
Hmm.
stay pretty fine. There's not a problem in that part. It's all about feeding them proper diet along with the giving the proper exercise regime. Yeah.
So the diet needs to be
Yes.
adjusted after Spain.
Yes. Yeah. So there is chances like one, if you say there is after the spaying, they have a tendency of putting weight. That is some negative aspect if we look at those things. But if they are properly balanced food, if you are giving, if they are not taking on a cutting down, sort of not feeding too much, cutting
Yeah.
down a meal around 20 to 25%, again giving them a proper exercise, that will help them to stay in a proper health. That's how. So
Right.
that's about the if we can maintain the weight accordingly. Yes. And yeah, that's majorly the benefits of spaying when we talk about the female dogs.
Right.
Yes.
So,
And
and
yes. So
I was just going to say, and we can talk about the vegetables as well.
yes, yeah, about the male dogs. The first instance, like whenever they become active, sexually active around at the age of 6 7 months, so then they have a tendency of going out and they keep running. Then we get a lot of cases where they have a accidental injuries or dog bites. So once they are neutered at right time, around 7 8 months of time, so then this tendency of running out whenever the, because what happens, like whenever the any female around the area, right, rather few miles, if they comes, they can smell the pheromones, and they have a pretty tendency of going out, running out from the home. So that won't happen, and if we neuter them on time, that's about. And secondly, the pets have male dogs have an aggressive nature coming out from the testosterone hormone. Some of them becomes pretty irritable or aggressive in nature. It has some contribution from the hormone itself. So once we neuter them on time, so that problem will be much less along with the training. Yeah.
Right.
And if we talk about the, yes, and if you talk about the medical aspects of these things, a lot of things, for example, they get a placed or after it, it's called the testicular tumors. That won't be there once we remove we neuter them. There is another condition is called it's called in the cryptorchid dogs. Cryptorchid dogs means when the testicle doesn't come from the abdomen to the scrotum, the not right place, they get a tendency of getting 30 to 35% more testicular tumor in the abdomen. So in that case, if we remove them on time, the and that won't be a problem, because what we have seen around 30 35% 40% of cases are becoming develop into a serious sort of tumor that can have a, if not treated on time, then be a problem later on. uh, these hormones has this is called anal adenomas. There is a tumor on the sides of the anal area. It's coming from a from the hormone itself. So if they are neutered, those tumors won't be there. There will be much less of getting those tumors. That's if you initially neuter them. Probably you get again around 1 month, 1 year or so.
Right.
That's about the tumor aspects in the male dogs. Yes. Then there is the conditions called perineal hernia, and that's a condition where they get a hernia inside near the in the anal area. So that's a big contributions from the hormone itself, and because of the enlargement of prostate. So the perineal hernia is much more in intact dog rather than the neutered dogs. So we
Right.
can reduce, and especially the, yeah, especially the breeds like the German Shepherds, Boxers. Then we talk about the Rottweilers and Dobermans. These big dogs. It's a pretty quite a bit. We find a lot of perineal hernia cases.
Hmm.
So that will be much less problem. Then later in life, after the middle aged pets, there is a prostate enlargement happen because of the hormone from the intact dogs, and then that prostate enlargement, when it happens, the what we will find the symptom is like the bleeding on the surface coming from the penile area. So it's typically coming from the when the prostate gland get enlarged, and it happens entirely because of the hormone itself. So if we neuter them on time, so we don't find any prostate enlargement cases, and then
Okay.
that won't be there. So yeah, so that's a pretty, that's not a very uncommon problem, these prostate issues in male dogs.
Hmm.
So that won't be actually there once we neuter them on time.
Yeah.
Then, of course, but then we talk about all the behavioral issues. The aggressive nature will be much less, and they won't be like. Then, if there are male dog and the female dog at home, then if they neuter them, then they avoid chances of any pregnancy happening. So that all that include quite a list of benefits in male as well as the female dogs. If we are not very serious of breeding either of them, it's better to neuter them on time, and then at least uh, these they won't get all these problems accordingly. Yes.
So, but in your
Yes.
experience, do you feel there are any drawbacks of neutering and spaying as well? That's what the law, I want to say, misconceptions about neutering and spaying, and that's why a lot of people don't get it done, like you're recommending at an early age. So, are there actually any drawbacks of getting your pet neutered or spayed?
Yes, you can again tell me.
I was asking.
People are telling about scared.
No, I'm asking. I'll ask the questions in a minute, but I was saying, are there any drawbacks of getting your pet neutered or spayed?
Any negative effects? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what. Yes, the one thing that we can say is about the weight gain. That's very commonly, and of course, a bit it can gain if you really see those things. If we don't take care of them properly, giving proper diet in the sense, if we keep them feeding what we have been feeding in the intact dogs, and if we're not making them walk and give them proper exercise, definitely they have tendency of putting them weight.
Right.
So it has to be managed, the proper diet, that weight control diet, and then and giving them proper exercise can we can sort out the weight problem in both male as well as the female problems
Okay.
females. That can be done. and and of course then we talk about incontinence, the chances are like very few, but if we sort of the spay them probably maybe right after first cycle, that's what we do nowadays, and then chances of even getting them urinary incontinence along with that having the chances of mammary gland tumors becomes less. Yeah,
Right.
so that's how. That is what the one part that one has to need to be careful about, and that can be sorted it out.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask
Yeah.
some of the questions that our viewers are asking now. Sandeep is saying, I have a female Labrador and I have not crossed her. It's 6 years down the line and I don't want her to be crossed. Are there any chances of any infection in her uterus? Please clarify.
It's 6 year down the line, and don't want
Be
her to
crossed.
be yeah,
Yeah.
as there chances of any infections her. All right. Yeah, that's fine. There can be a chances it can get a when we talked about pyometras, it may not, but it can be there. So, and it is most of the time it's sort of it's a hormonal thing rather than sort of infections going. So that's what, because the hormones are intact when the ovaries, so chances of getting can be there. So it's very difficult to assess for anybody to say it won't happen
Yeah.
or it will happen, but it can happen. So one way is sort of seeing it if things are happening, giving them on that time, or if we are planning beforehand, it's called elective procedure that can be done beforehand as well. But they can be spared at any age. Even at this age, it can be done. That's not a
Okay.
problem. Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
Josan. I have another
Yeah.
question here from Suhela. It's not about neutering, but it's about her eye infection, I think. So she's saying, can you tell me probable reasons for swelling of the eye membrane of a bull mastiff of about 5 years of age? He's been given painkillers and anti-inflammatory since past 2 days with very slow improvement.
This is swelling of membrane of a uh, bull mastiff of about 5 years of age. He been given painkiller and with anti-inflammatory since last 2 days. It's very show. It's very slow improvement. So there is a swelling of eye membrane of a bull mastiff. See, uh, is it about the third eyelid or is it inside the eye? Uh, I don't know which eye membrane. We are not really clear about this specifically, but you can try with the eye drops. Is it inside the eye or is it eyelid or is it? I don't know if you can ask them.
Yeah,
Is it
Suhaila,
possible? No.
post an answer to Dr. Josan's question, then we can come back to you in a minute. I'm going to answer somebody else's question in the meanwhile. We'll go back to it, Dr. Josan. Uh, Monica is saying, I have a dog, but she's continuously itching her skin.
Yes.
Why?
Each skin, continuously itching
Itching.
skin only. I have a dog that's continuing. All right. See, now itching has many causative things to do, very causes of it. The first of need, we need to check the parasites like ticks has to be checked out. Then fleas are very common cause for this flea allergy dermatitis that has to be checked out. So check properly if we are seeing any ticks or fleas. Ticks are like there are running type of lice type of things, and there is a black eggs that all over. It's a very common. And it's a quite itchy. Pets feel very itchy with the flea allergy.
Okay.
Ticks is the second. If we can find some ticks, and but there are other reasons as the skin issues from the bacterial origin. It's a pyoderma, food allergies, environment allergies are there. So only thing I can suggest you, maybe you can do symptomatic at the moment anti-allergics. Otherwise, we can give some sort of antihistaminic cetirizines that can be given, but better to show to the pet vet,
Yeah.
and then they can have a look why he's been itching. But time being, the cetirizine tablets can be given. That just to relieve him from any itching for a moment, according to for a while. But definitely, he needs to be examined properly. Yes.
Monica, a lot of all the vets are now open, and I don't think it's a problem now to go and get your dog shown. So, as Dr. Joshi said, please, get your dog shown. He's in Gurugram itself. If you're there, you can bring your dog to Metro Pet Hospital as well, and Dr. Joshi can take a look at your dog. Going to see there were a few more questions, so I'm just going to go through that. Sumanshu has a thank you for you, Dr. Dushan. He's saying his dog Scooby had pyometra and it was detected and operated by you. He recommends spaying females in time if you don't plan to treat them. So there's a thank you for you. And
Thank reverse. Dissector operated in. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. He's doing fine. She's doing fine.
Sumanshu, you can tell Dr. Dushan how your dog
Yes.
is doing. I'll read it out. Hi, Sharad Uncle. He's saying, given the advantages of neutering pets, would you say that pet owners need not be biased in favor of male pets?
Given the advantage of neutering pets, would you say that pet owners need not to be
Biased
biased in favor of
male.
male pets?
Yeah.
Given neutering pets, would pet owner need not to be biased in favor of male pets? See, okay, but in that sense, Sharaji is saying if like female is there, so then they would like to have a male dog where
Yeah.
we may need not to neuter them, then
No,
spay them. That's
he said,
what
no,
I.
he said people,
Uh, I
people
think
prefer
what we have seen is like I think they had to be educated in that both sense, sort of. That can be one of the thing, of course, could be one of the factors where they can decide on this level that they have to go from the hassles of female and male. Maybe they can. It has one of the probably, but probably they need to be educated in that both the sense, because even now the male, when we see about the advantages of neutering male, so it's better to neuter them, or maybe if there's a problem happens then we neuter them, so that can be done. So probably it can be some point, but yes, yeah, we need to educate whenever they come to us or the breeders. It needs to be yeah, properly educate them.
yes.
Yes.
And also,
Mm.
we had a
Yeah.
pet expert, which is my mother-in-law also. And you know, she had a very good point. I felt, and she said that female dogs are far more affectionate. Also, although a lot of people prefer to get male dogs home, and female dogs get neglected because I think Shardana has a great point saying that because they're easier to maintain, so to say, and they don't go on heat and everything. So with this, I mean, and you're absolutely right, Dr. Joshan. Some education would go a long way in killing that bias towards male dogs in our country. Uh, so, thank you, Sharad. Again, great point. Great point. We have another very good question from Anurima here. She's saying, I've heard that we should breed out female dogs once and then get her spayed because it's good for her health in the long run and because it's natural and biological thing. Is it true?
We have heard that we should breed out female dogs once and then get her spayed because it's good for her to healthy in the as it's natural and biological. Yes, that's fine. That's all right. Now, they can be bred once and then they can be spayed. There is no issue about all this. That's
No,
okay.
is
This
it
is a pretty okay. It's not a problem. Whenever like second heat or there is no issue about all this. See, it's okay because if we want to go with the natural process, one wants to take 1 liter, and then of course they can take 1 liter. That's absolutely fine, and then this pay afterwards. It's all right.
no,
Majority
but
of the issues will be taken care by this.
no, but is it necessary to do this to breed a dog? Like, if you don't want to breed a dog,
It's not actually it should be mandatory for every female dog to breed and then spay. It's actually it can be choice.
okay,
It can be a choice. It's not that way. Like for example, one they don't want to breed them and then become a sort of mandatory thing. It's a sort of it can be it can be they can be spayed. What we talked about maybe first cycle or second cycle, but if the people want to breed them, they can breed it according to their wish, and then they can breed.
right. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Anurima,
so it's not some sort of okay. It should become a sort of standard operating. They should be bred. They should must be bred once. That probably may not be. We can put into a sort of benchmark things.
yeah.
It
So,
should be probably a choice. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Anurima, so as
yes.
Dr. Joshi is saying, it's absolutely not necessary to breed them, and also I think there are enough puppies, who need a home. So I mean, just senseless breeding is also something that should not be encouraged, just because it's a myth that the dog needs to have a litter and then only. He's saying between first and second heat cycle, you can get your dog spayed and she'll have a completely healthy life, and in fact avoid a lot of health problems in the later ages. So Mira is here. Hi Mira. She's saying in some behavior cases, if problems get worse post neutering, blanket neutering for behavior cases must be avoided. What is your opinion on that, Dr. Krishnan?
In some behavior cases, its problem gets worse post neutering. Blanket neutering to behavior must be avoided. Behavior neutering. I I don't know how this thing about it may be some individual pets having some problem and may not be. It could be after the neutering he become worse. Probably we can't reach to a conclusion by say probably just one pet having maybe problem because of other reason or may not be responding to that. But see what happened like for example, if a pet having some behavioral issues and then we neuter them probably 3 4 maybe around 3 or 4 years of age, then they already have concretized they have their behavior become concrete. So then probably may not do much with the but of course still a bit of contributing factor from a hormone will always be there. So that's why probably it's said maybe they can be done, they've been neuter early in age. So that could be a bad idea. But we can say because after the neutering it become worse, probably it is just one of those cases. I was in the process of neutering. He got to a certain maybe more painful conditions or healing or some sort of that could have been, but otherwise it can't be said from a single case. Most of the time it will have a positive impact, and then along with some good behavioral training and some point of time adding some medications, pet can be brought back to quite a normal reasonably level.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Josan.
Yes.
So Manshu is saying yes, he is doing good. That's the dog that you had operated on, and so he's saying she did develop some tumors too a year or two later, and Dr. Joshi came to the rescue again. So thanks to you. Saloni is saying, is it a good idea to neuter or spay senior dogs?
If it's good to do neutering or spay senior dogs, yes, it's fine if they can be eligible for a anesthesia. Uh, they can be done because all those issues, when so discussed, what they go through, probably they can be done. One of the thing is like either we just wait them, or if some condition happen, then we do those things, neutrospay them, or either even if it's a senior pet and if you want to sort of prevent them from to some level all these diseases, when what's we discussed, we can do it if eligible from anesthetic point of view. So that can be done, that's not an issue. And with the refinement of anesthetics nowadays, even we operate quite a old pets nowadays, no problems actually happening. Yeah, that's not a
Okay.
problem.
I have a question on that, Doctor.
Yes.
My dog, he's 7 years old and he's epileptic. So he's obviously not being neutered because he can't undergo anesthesia. So do you think with the new anesthetics, he can also get neutered?
You to repeat it, haven't heard properly. It's still the sound is not that clear.
I'm going to write
If
it.
it's
So,
written,
okay, I'll just write it.
the sound is still in a problem from your
Yeah.
side. It's if yes,
I'm just writing it so I can ask.
yes, yeah, you can hear. Can an option? Yes, can you hear me? Okay, so yes, a epileptic dog of 7 years of can be neutered. Yes, he can be. Only thing to do is again seeing again single fine. Eligibility criteria by seeing all his blood exams. If they are fine, other than the epileptic things, we just need to change a bit of anesthetic protocols for these pets, and they go well. Most of the time, they go very well. There's not an issue. Yes, they can be done. Yes.
Sorry. We have a question from Vignesh here. He's saying my female cat became aggressive after spaying. Is this common?
Yeah, my female become aggressive after spaying. Is this common? It's not a common thing. It's just those pets probably getting because of I don't know what's the reason. Probably some sort of if it's if it's not a very good during an recovery phase or some sort of
Uh,
probably happening, and maybe she'll come back to normal if she's having full experience. One of the thing, normally they don't become sort of aggressive after spaying, so they stay pretty okay. So it is just one of those cases because of some sort of maybe a bit of painful experience if she has been recently been operated. Yes, it's not in a common thing. Yes, not at all. Yes.
Hi, Ritvik. He's asking, does early neutering reduces marking behavior in your dog?
Do only neuter reduces mating behavior in male dogs? Yes, solution for mating. There can be other things that can be done with the hormonal by doing spray by other hormones for a brief period of time. But once the effect of the other hormones go away, they can ensure mating again. And some point of time, many time there is chemical sterilization has been tried, but ultimately with so many trial and all these studies and things, it has been reached the neutering surgical way has been the best option still so far. That is a permanent solution for all those things.
Uh, okay, Dr. Josan,
Okay.
I think there are no more questions for us. Is there anything else in your experience that you would like to share with our viewers? Uh, Sorry, Mira, I was saying yes, I saw, and I agree that we should work on the behaviors first because training is very crucial to a dog's well-being. And
Yes, yes. Diet can be, yes. There are different companies even make, if they are on the commercial diet, there is a diet that's for neutering pets as well. So
oh,
if one wants to go with that prescription food, that can be tried. Yes.
okay,
Then what it's said, it's more of a fiber with a bit of protein, of a carbs that can be added. And then of course we can reduce the diet also 20%, 25%, especially when they are gaining, if they have a tendency of gaining weight. So then, and of course a good exercise regime, that should be, they should be doing pretty fine. Yes, it's not always all the pets gain weight. Some of them pretty stay fine. But if we feel that some particular pet is gaining weight, then we can reduce even up to 20-25% of the diet if we need to do it. So it all depends how they go after spaying or neutering. Yes.
so this was my question. If you think this needed.
Any other point you would like to share based on your experience? Yes, I have. Only thing what I can say about neutering and spaying, it's again, it's better to if you don't want to breed them, better to spay or neuter them on time to save them from all these where they go through a certain pains and sometimes the illness pretty badly and that difficult to manage later on. So and even the economically, they even it stays better when if that something happens in any of these condition will happen, in that it become maybe a little more expensive on that side if we talk about the economical aspects of it. So that's what I want to raise. Yes.
All
Right.
right, thank you so
All
much,
right.
Dr. Josan. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining us, guys. I think he cleared up a lot of misconceptions about neutering and spaying, and there's a lot of information out there. Again, but there is never a clarity. Like someone had asked about, that people say that you should breed your dog once, and as Dr. Joshan said, there's absolutely no need to do that biologically. The pet is going to be completely fine if you do get her spayed after the first heat cycle and before the second one, so in between. So I think that's a very common misconception that I'm glad we were able to address. And all, of course, he discussed all the other health benefits that your pet can have if neutered and spayed in time. And also, there's no time limit. So if your dog is getting older and if you're worried, you can definitely consult your vet and take their personal opinion on spaying or neutering. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye.